Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Community Unitarian Universalist Church. I am Pastor Kris Cervantes, and I'm so grateful that you're all here today. If you haven't figured it out by now, this is my last Sunday here at Community, boo. And so if you are a visitor, you have come upon a day of sort of celebration and transition, and I hope that you will find something here that speaks to you about what kind of community this is. As we come together, it's a good thing to remind ourselves of how we care for each other and how we love one another. And so what I want to do right now is invite you to rise in your pews, your chairs, and turn to your neighbors and just wish them peace. You can say, "Peace be with you." You can flash them a peace sign. You can fist bump. Ooh. Woo! Thank you. Sorry, I got a little caught up in my own peace passing. Thank you so much. Each week, we gather as a community, and we want to share our lives with one another. And so let's just do a greeting. We are Unitarian Universalists, and we're glad you're here with us this morning. This is a church where we value the open pulpit, and we let our speakers say what comes into their hearts to say. And it is also a church of the open pew, which is to say we expect that our listeners will listen critically and thoughtfully, and you may not agree with everything, but we hope that you'll take something away from it. This is the church of the open mind and the helping hands and the loving heart. Like all UU congregations, we are not founded on a single creed or dogma, but rather on a common vision of the world as it could be, a place of inherent worth and dignity, a place where we value kindness and we take care of one another and the earth. Our diversity of belief is reflected here and there. Usually, I would say that after the service, you would join us for church chats, but today I hope you will join us instead for something else, which you're about to hear all about. For now, I want to ask you to silence all your devices, and if you have joys and sorrows you wish to share with us, the book where you can write them is in the back of the sanctuary between the two cabinets, and you can spend all the time in the service up until the first hymn if you want to go share your joys or your sorrows, and they'll be shared later in the service. I believe that's it for that. So I would like to invite Deb Bliss to come up. There she is.
So after the service, you are invited to come to Founders Hall to enjoy our congregation's radical hospitality. You're going to be very impressed. And this will be a chance for you to help us give a loving send-off to Pastor Kris. There's going to be a place for you to write notes and a basket to put notes to her. And there's also a place where you can play with chalk hair colors and join the spirit of our pastor. So please join us.
Oh, thank you so much, Deb.
Today, all the worship associates have the honor to work with Pastor Kris one last time. We hope you will enjoy the service and stay after for a reception we're calling Goodbye with Pie. Take some time to write a note to Kris at the note station, and be sure to enjoy some pie, Kris's favorite dessert. When Kris joined us 3 years ago, none of us knew that a global pandemic and historic ice storm were in our future. We didn't know the damage that they would do to our church. It turns out that Kris was true to her title of pastor. She shepherded us through both devastations. It wasn't easy, but with Pastor Kris at the helm, the church adapted to new technology to reach the congregation at home. Kris worked with the worship team to develop services that were meaningful and thought-provoking, even on Zoom. If you go back and look at our YouTube channel, you can see us week by week learning on the job. With Kris's guidance, the facilities, interior design, floors and walls teams, and many, many volunteers
Amen.
made our building safe, sound, and also beautiful and welcoming. When we were finally able to come back to the building in March of 2022, Kris helped us learn to craft a live service that could be enjoyed by those of us attending in person, as well as the folks at home watching the stream. This church has come a long way thanks to Pastor Kris.
Amen.
Y'all did all the hard work.
Today, we come to honor Kris and her contributions to Community UU. But we also have to say goodbye to Kris and also to the ministry we have crafted together. We need to free Kris to go on to new experiences and adventures. Every ending carries the seed of a new beginning. I know Pastor Kris takes the congregation's love and gratitude with her as she makes a new beginning. This church is also making a new beginning with a new minister later in the summer. So one more time, let's all worship together with Pastor Kris.
Yes, Sarah.
Fire consumes and casts a bright light. May our chalice flame consume our regrets for the past, our fears about the future, and our worries about today. May it light for us a path of joy and peace wherever we go. The mission of our faith is to teach the fragile art of hospitality, to honor the critical mind and the generous heart, to find unity in diversity, to witness that we hold each other and the whole world in our hands. Together, we make a commitment to, a promise for, and a covenant with this world and all its inhabitants when we say together, love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another.
At this time, I would like to welcome Jeanette Bailey to come forward. We have a little thank you for our choir.
Come on over, Krista. You come up here. So there is a lot taking place today, with this being Pastor Kris's last time with us as our consulting minister. Our church and liturgical program year is ending in May and giving start to the next one in June. And in keeping with tradition, the choir here at Community UU will be on sabbatical for the summer. That doesn't mean we won't have music. We'll have lots of wonderful music, but the choir will be on sabbatical. So I'm going to say a few words about the choir. It has been our distinct pleasure to work with Krista Benish this year. Krista has brought her talents in music and direction to us, along with her wonderful personality and generosity of spirit, which we have needed. It has been a balm for us when we couldn't sing together. The pain that created was really substantial, and she brought us all together. We are grateful that she will continue as our music director for the upcoming year. We also congratulate Krista as she has finished her master's in music at SMU while she has been serving us. So thank you for joining me in celebrating and thanking Krista Benish and my fellow choir members. And also as a PSA, we're always looking for new members.
Yes.
We will welcome you, and this is for you from us.
Thank
There we
you.
go.
So many good things. At this time, I would like to invite Joyce Thompson to come forward. Also, I would just like to say, no one told me you were all, well, many of you are going to dye your hair many colors today. I have never been so flattered and honored and thrilled and just hilarified.
Goodbyes are hard. So hard, in fact, that many of us skip that step within our relationships. I'm not talking about the see you later kind of goodbye. Those aren't hard. I'm talking about the goodbye that's the final step in creating closure in a relationship. They're so hard that we often deny ourselves the opportunity to practice this important human interaction. For many people, goodbyes are uncomfortable. They provide the opportunity to both experience and express the value that the relationship or person has had in our life. And this vulnerability, displaying the difficulty that we may experience in separating from one another, is a common challenge in a world where so many are told to stay strong, avoiding all chances that you might cry or show other emotions or be perceived as overly sensitive. That's all bogus. The human condition is about experiencing emotions and connecting with others through relationship. Saying goodbye is a cathartic exercise in interpersonal connection and validating the impact people and experiences have on our lives. It's important to honor the footprint that others leave in our hearts. And it's equally important to recognize that not all relationships are meant to be lifelong. Many are time limited. They're established for a specific reason, and when that circumstances shift, they end. That doesn't mean they didn't matter. We're continuously evolving, and our needs change as things change, and so do relationships. So practice saying goodbye. Do what feels right to express the value of their friendship, their support, or their camaraderie has had for you. Allow others to see the impact that their presence has had on you. And when it's time to say goodbye, whether just for now or forever, know that in saying goodbye, you're not devaluing the time this person spent with you, but saying, you matter. You've been part of my life. Goodbye may be hard, but that doesn't mean we should pretend it doesn't exist, that they don't exist. Emotional discomfort equals emotional growth, something we all need to continually pursue joy and life satisfaction. So, in closing, in the paraphrasing the words of that great philosopher, Winnie the Pooh, how lucky we are to have someone who makes goodbye so hard.
Make me cry a little bit.
Me too.
I don't know why everybody's trying to make me cry. Each week when we gather together, we share our joys and our sorrows. We do so in the hopes that by sharing our sorrows, they will be lightened as other hands and hearts come to help us bear them. And by sharing our joys, we hope that the light we experience will be shared with others and then carried outside these walls and go on to spark joy elsewhere. And so this morning I have I have a joy and sorrow. And one says that they're grateful to have found this church. I don't know who this is, but I am grateful you found us too. And they are grateful to have met me. And I don't know who this is, but I am grateful to have met you too, I promise. And then another one that says, it's a joy and a sorrow that they will miss me. They're Pastor Kris. And that is also my joy and sorrow today. And I'm really not going to cry. So I will simply do a pastoral prayer for us. This is just a little bit blessing. Spirit of love and life, as you have given this congregation so much care and love, and I have seen them reflected onto me, please sustain the wonderful feeling, the friendships, the relationships, the commitment, the thoughtfulness, the kindness of this congregation and this community. And may it not stay confined to these walls. May the joy spread outward and change the world. Amen. I believe we have a meditation. Good. Yay.
Each Sunday, we take a few moments for internal contemplation, prayer, or meditation. When we relax and quiet our mind, we allow our soul to speak. What we are today comes from our thoughts of yesterday, and our thoughts of today build our life of tomorrow. So sit back, take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and allow your soul to speak. Feel free to light a candle in the window and let that flame be an expression of your soul.
Well, back in November of 2019, when Community Unitarian Universalist had just spent a long 18 months as a lay-led congregation, the board called the worship team and said, we have a potential contract minister. Would we arrange a service with this pastor from Waco, Kris Cervantes? So we did.
I feel like I want to stand up and stand next to you while you're talking about me.
Yeah, come stand next to me. So we did, and actually I got to be worship associate for that first one. And the first service was a huge success, and everybody said, yes, this is the minister we need. So we brought her on. I don't remember for sure, but I think your hair at that time was bright purple.
It was.
And mine was pastel pink. And so it was a very colorful chancel that day. After the board did their thing and all the paperwork was finished, I think you joined us officially in about February of 2020. It was actually
January.
Was it January?
Yeah.
Okay. So January of 2020. You remember what was on the horizon in January 2020.
Little did we know.
So we did a few services in January. We did a few services in February. We're getting our groove. Things are moving forward. It's all good. And then March 15th, we got the call, what, Jen, on Wednesday or Thursday?
It was Thursday.
Thursday. Church is shutting down for COVID. We will not be meeting in person. Do whatever you need to do.
Where's Bill Daphne? He was my first
Where
worship associate for video.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember Jen actually was your the very first, because you remember we cleared off this chancel and we used your iPhone. We filmed it using her iPhone on a music stand, I think, or something. We set up a small area up here instead
Please don't go watch the YouTube. Just don't.
It was a practice run. Actually, what I remember most about that Saturday, we spent all day Saturday up here. And she did a message for all ages on how to wash your hands properly, singing the alphabet song twice.
I said you could sing Go Now in Peace.
That's true. That's true. And we even set up a little basin, and she washed her hands on camera, the whole thing. But what I really remember is sitting in this room for what must have been 2 hours or longer, waiting for that file to upload so that Gene Verinder, where is Gene? Gene Verinder could do his thing to get it posted on the website. We didn't have a YouTube channel. I don't even remember how we did it. It was a mess. But you know what? We got through it. Yeah, we did. And thank goodness we had Kris and all of her technological savvy to lead us into the age of Zoom.
Oh, God. We experienced it all.
So we did it together, the worship team. We dug in there. Kris has amazing technology skills. She taught herself to edit video. She taught Jen. Jen taught herself to edit video. And we inched into a long period of Zoom and YouTube services. Who knew on March 15th, 2020, that it was going to last for 2 long years? Yeah, it was partly because of the flood damage that meant we had to rebuild the entire inside of this church.
Little things like that.
Yeah, little things. But it was still 2 years of remote. And this lady here and a lot of other volunteers and workers who are in this room now, or some of them probably listening remotely, kept it together. We survived. No, video services are not as satisfying as being together in person, but they kept us going. Kris kept us going. She led us through some major changes, and she showed us what it looks like to adapt gracefully to whatever the world throws at us. And the world will always be throwing things at us. Yeah. At this very moment, we have multiple catastrophes unfolding: climate change and a 6th mass extinction, an epidemic of mass shootings, attacks on our basic civil rights, voting disenfranchisement, blocking access to health care, library censorship. And yet here we remain. In the middle of unfolding chaos and destruction, singing along to, you gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be stronger. Here we are, greeting each other with a weekly passing of the peace and sharing pie and coffee. It's like stopping to revel in the beauty of a jewel-toned butterfly that's dipping into a flower, even knowing that that butterfly has a short life, that it is one of the most endangered species due to climate change and pollution. Kris has demonstrated to us how we can be angry and hurt by what's going on in the world and still come together to hug each other and touch joy again. We can just decide on no evidence except the prompting of our hearts that the universe is benevolent and we are loved. As we say goodbye to you, Kris, it's only sad because of the love that we have for you and the learning that we've shared together. So we will grieve for a moment, but then take all of the things that Kris has taught us and dance joyfully together into the future.
Let's see. I would like to invite Jeanette to come forward.
Each week we speak from this pulpit on the offering. No small act is the offering. It is a ritual of both gratitude and support, and it is part of the way we keep our beloved community alive. Then sometimes you get an extra set of instructions where it is suggested that you create offering words that somehow honor the fact that it is the minister's last time in the pulpit.
Crazy.
With that, I will share these words from the poet Alberto Rios about generosity. One river gives its journey to the next. We give because someone gave to us. We give because nobody gave to us. We give because giving has changed us. Giving has many faces. It is loud and it is quiet. Big, though small, diamond in wood nails. The story is old, the plot worn, and the pages too. But we read this book anyway, over and again. Giving is, first and every time, hand to hand. Mine to yours, yours to mine. What you did not have, I gave you. What I had to give, together we made. Something greater from the difference. We are gathered here today as one river gives its journey to the next, and it is in this spirit that the ushers will now collect this morning's offering.
Even though your minister is leaving, this church is not closing its doors. You are not stopping. You are not even slowing down, which is as it should be. And so we would like to welcome our newest members today. So as I call your name, if you are a new member, if you would just come up to the front here. Tom, will you come up here and help me real quick? Actually, I think I'm going to have Tom come up here and read your names, and I'm going to come down there and greet you.
Thanks to Tom and to all our new members. The Board of Trustees has put together a lovely hello goodbye reception in Founders Hall following this service. They are serving Kris's favorite dessert, of course. And it seems so appropriate that we would welcome new members, a joy to us all, on the day we say a bittersweet farewell to Kris and wish you well. And we wish ourselves well on our path to remember that love is the spirit of this church. So we've had a lot of wisdom from a lot of sources. So here is yet another from the great guitar saint, Jimi Hendrix. The story of life is quicker than the wink of an eye. The story of love is hello and goodbye until we meet again. Please join me in extinguishing our chalice.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. For the benediction, I call your attention to our chalice. Each week when we light the flame, it's a symbol of our coming together. And when we leave at the end, we extinguish it. But we say and we mean that we will carry it in our hearts until we're back together again. And so as I leave the building, it's simply the extinguishing of a flame that can and perhaps will be relit at a later time. I would like to close with a few words from Shakespeare. This is from Julius Caesar, but it's one of the best goodbyes I've ever read. Whether we shall meet again, I know not. Therefore our everlasting farewell take. Forever and forever, farewell. If we do meet again, why we shall smile. And if not, why then, this parting was well made. Thank you. I love you. Amen.